Well, at 6:30, I'd like to call the September 27th, 2016 meeting of the Milledgeville City Council to order. Start by asking the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mr. Chambers,
Here.
Mr. Mullins,
Here.
Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Ms. Shinholster, Ms. Walden,
Here.
Dr. Lee.
Here.
We have a quorum. I'll ask everyone to join me as we stand for the prayer and the pledge. Are you here? Lord, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Father, thank you for being our source of guidance. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Our first order of business tonight will be awards and presentations. Tonight we would like to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month with the reading of a proclamation. Whereas serious mental illness such as major depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, severe anxiety disorders, borderline personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorders affect 1 in every 4 people annually. Whereas serious mental illness is a highly treatable medical illness of the brain, posing the same concern as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and other illnesses. And whereas scientific research is producing tremendous breakthroughs in the understanding of mental illness, resulting in more effective treatments to allow people to reclaim full and productive lives. And whereas misunderstandings exist about mental illness and social culture often wrongly imposes a stigma on mental illness. So now, therefore, I, Gary Thrower, as Mayor of the City of Milledgeville, do hereby proclaim October 2nd through October 8th as Mental Illness Awareness Week in the City of Milledgeville to increase public awareness of mental illness and to promote treatment and recovery. Since I'm most likely candidate.
You won't skip my name.
We good? Thanks so much. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. Don't y'all like that door?
Hold it, sweetie.
Don't give me an idea.
Thank you, sir. You've all received copies of the minutes of the September 13, 2016 regular council meeting. Are there any questions or corrections? Do I hear a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Mr. Mullins,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Dr. Lee.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under old business, I will ask the clerk to read ordinance O-1609-016 by caption.
An ordinance to levy and assess taxes for the support of the mayor and aldermen of the city of Milledgeville for the tax year 2016 and to provide for the collection of the same.
Having heard the ordinance, do I hear a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Mr. Mullins, Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Dr. Lee.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving into new business, I'll ask the clerk to provide a first read of ordinance O-1609-016 amending the Land Development Code to rezone 221 North Wayne Street from CC to MR2.
This is to conduct the first reading of an ordinance amending the Land Development Code to rezone property located at 221 North Wayne Street. This property is currently owned by Carl Wilkinson in Zone CC. Applicant desires to rezone property to MR2 so it can be sold and combined with the adjoining property in order to construct 2 buildings with 11 units for a total of 48 beds.
This matter is scheduled to come back before council at our October 25th meeting. Now I'd ask the clerk if he would provide a first read of ordinance O-1609-017, amending the Land Development Code to rezone 231 North Wayne Street from CC to MR2.
This is to conduct the first reading of an ordinance amending the Land Development Code to rezone property located at 231 North Wayne Street. This property is currently owned by Pendergast Properties LLC in Zone CC. Applicant desires to rezone property MR2 so it can be sold and combined with adjoining property in order to construct 2 buildings with 11 units for a total of 48 beds.
This matter is also scheduled to come back before council at our October 25th meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we add 2 items to to our agenda. It would be Resolution 1609-031 and also an alcohol beverage license.
We have a motion to amend the agenda. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we need to call the roll? I think we need to call the
Need to call
roll.
the roll. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Had a bunch of ayes in there, though.
Well,
Call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
aye.
Dr. Lee?
Motion carries. I'd ask the clerk if he would mind reading Resolution R-1609-031 by caption.
To authorize the lease agreement with Milledgeville Liquidators Depot LLC for the lease of certain portions of the Shaw Building located at 901 South Wayne Street.
You've heard the resolution. Do I hear a motion to
Make a motion, we approve.
second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Motion carries.
And application is for Virendra Kumar B. Patel on behalf of Copley Food Mart LLC doing business as Cy Food Mart located at 1051 North Jefferson Street. And this is for beer and wine retail package to go.
Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
Motion carries. Last item on our agenda is a closed session to discuss real estate transactions. At this point, the chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Dr. Lee?
That motion carries. We'll be moving into closed session and we'll reconvene shortly. Thank you. I'd like to call the September 27th, 2016 meeting of the Milledgeville City Council back into order and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Chambers?
Here.
Mr. Mullins?
Here.
Mr. Reynolds?
Here.
Ms. Walden?
Here.
Dr. Lee?
Here.
We have a quorum. Council did go into closed session, discuss real estate transaction. No decisions were made. no other items on the agenda. I'd just like to thank Hank Griffin and his team for organizing and coordinating the Black Heritage Shindig this last Friday night. We had a great turnout, had some great music, and everybody appeared to be having a great time. Hopefully we can build on this. Any other comments? There being no further business to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion, a second? We stand
Adjourn.
adjourned.